Right. So, let me pause my music and even take these off. It is July 10th, and just recording this as basically like a start to like a series almost. I've got a vision, and I'm gonna bring it into light. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna post this or when I'm gonna post it because I'm not sure if everyone's gonna agree with this vision, especially certain companies. So I'm just gonna build it out and release this at some point, and I'm just getting this footage for now because it might be necessary in the future. Who knows? Now, essentially, for spiritual and personal reasons, I don't necessarily believe that a person's work should have anything to do with money. I seem to be forming the opinion that work is for service, giving to the world, things that you're passionate about, and money is for money. Now, you can mix the two, but sooner or later, an impurity from one is going to leak into the other. And although I try my best not to be a binary thinker, of course you can, make work feel like play. You can accomplish, you can build, you can do all these different things. But ultimately, when it comes to work, I just don't necessarily want that to be for money. I want to be in a place where, I can launch charities, deploy masses of capital into movies that spread messages that the world needs through story. And yeah. So the target is what we're going to be doing is essentially building out an AI that's going to enter prop firm challenges, pass them, and then get automated payouts. Now, the reason I'm doing prop firms and not like in the real market is because in a prop firm, to a certain degree, it's like a play environment, and so there's not necessarily someone on the other end who's losing a ton, which I don't know how I'd feel about, but at the end of the day, that's how trading is. With a prop firm, it's a little bit more of a self-contained thing, which, is its own thing. And essentially, I'm going to build an AI that trades, that passes prop firm challenges and trades and gets consistent payouts. Now, I don't necessarily know, so I still need to read the rule books of some of these prop firms because, look, I've never traded before. I don't necessarily know if, and I have no intention of ever really trading, to be honest. It's a rabbit hole. I don't even necessarily know if it's like allowed. Like these prop firms have something like terms of services of like no AI. I don't know if it's caught up to that point, but in approaching this project, I'm gonna approach under the two main core consumptions. AI is ready, and it's easy. And AI is ready. It's gonna be easy to do, as well as the fact that essentially the only thing holding people back from doing it is they just don't realize how far AI has come. So it's like this lapse and gap in understanding of the capabilities. You know, at the time of recording this, Fable, Claude's system basically had to be taken down because as a test, it hacked into the fucking government super effortlessly, and they had to take it down and rejig it and rewire and all that stuff. So my understanding is the capabilities of the tools are there. It's just kind of directing them to where it should be going. So that's what we're going to be building. And, ideally, I want to make things so like a subsection of the profits go to charities. So at least 51% going to charities. Feeling some constrictions about that as of right now because, I don't have the most money in the world. But at the end of the day, with technology like this, it's all going to be about redistributing the world's capital and deploying the world's capital for the world's benefit. nothing else. So this is charity, this is world messages, this is positive, movies and all these different things and all these visions that I have. And long term, going to build out a whole media department, and people are going to be following me around, and we're going to go and we're going to transform places, and it's all going to be filmed, and that's going to be a point of leverage to grow things even further and further and further into bigger and bigger opportunities. So it's going to be fun. It's the vision. It's all starting with separating work, passion, work, compassion, all of that stuff from the money. Like, AI is artificial intelligence. It does intelligence better than humans. It will do intelligence better than all humans. So why try and compete with that? Humans aren't about intelligence. A human isn't valued based off its intelligence. That's not even remotely close to what a human is valued off. So yeah, just going to kind of try and chip away at that and do what I need to do to get to that point. And this is a log or a first episode or just a video time in history of where my head's at and what that looks like now. Okay, well, there we go. I'm going to go do some stuff. It's been 10 days since I said that I was going to create my money-making AI agent. And like most new ideas, I still haven't done anything. So I'm clearing this table and I'm mapping out exactly what is going to be needed, and I'm going to be taking decisive action tonight, on this agent, so that I can get to business and get started with what I need and want to get started with. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. Right bloody now. Let's clear the table of all this junk. And let's get this mapped out. So again, the assumptions in creating this agent is that AI already has the capability to do it. Now, one interesting thing is I actually heard from a friend of mine, someone who purchased an AI agent from a very successful trader that traded for them, and it's a very successful bot, but they essentially don't use it all the time because humans like to take credit and be rewarded. And luckily, because of my spiritual practices and meditative exploits, I am becoming less and less needy to validation of intelligence on a day-to-day basis. Meaning, I'm fine for someone to be way smarter than me. And I believe that AI is way smarter than me. Way, 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 way smarter. So, let's execute and essentially allow AI to shine. So, let's get it done. Right, table is cleared, pad is down, let's go. Okie dokie. So, let's get this mapped out. This is a nice shot. I like this shot quite a bit. But I'm gonna get the camera just a little bit higher. Just like that. Perfect. Okay. So, we have 3 core parts that we need to create. And those parts are, number 1, the eyes. Core concept is to be able to read the charts. That's basically all it really needs to do, right? The eyes. Core concept, read the charts. Read incoming information, that's it. Read incoming information. And feed back to other parts. That's all it needs to do. It needs to be continuously reading information, reading the charts, and feeding back to other parts. That's all the eyes need to be able to do. So that's part 1. Let's see if we can just rip this off. Right, the eyes. The next part, which is probably the most complex, but AI knows how to do this shit better than me. The next part is the brain. The brain. This part, I'm going to highlight in pink. The brain. All this needs to do, really, is, well, there's a lot of functions that it could be used to do. So, I want this to be able to learn for itself. I want this to be able to store strategies. I want this to be able to, build out plans, a lot of different stuff. So, at its core, all it's really doing is creating effective plans. Its job is to create effective plans
of action. That's its job. Now, the brain's job in this agent is to create effective plans of action, meaning there might be there might be strategies that are loaded into it. Having done brief research on trading, one of the strategies might be ICT, okay, which involves things like order flow, and I don't pretend to know what these things are. Involves things like order flow, involves things like scalping, I don't even know, honestly, fuck knows. But there might be predefined, existing, effective trading strategies that, we can load into the brain for starters. However, where we want it long term is to be in a place where, because all strategies and plans of action in the market are man-made. The entire principle in which I'm pushing this project forwards on is the fact that man's intellect is going to be overcome by AI. In fact, it might have already been overcome by AI, but we're slow to adapt. And so the idea is that there's this large arbitrage right now in what humans think AI is capable of and what it's actually capable of. And we as humans like to overinflate our intellectual abilities because that's what gives us a sense of meaning and self-validation. Anyways, if I only limit this AI agent to what humans have already figured out, then what is the point? So yes, in terms of like phase 1, proof of concept, in order to actually, phase 1 proof of concept, in order to actually be in a place where, we have an agent that's working, can read charts, execute on charts, plan, get feedback, data, all of this different stuff, it's going to be pretty simple first step to take a strategy that's quite simple in the market that already works and test the eyes and the hands, which is going to be the third step. Test the eyes and the hands based off a winning existing strategy. But this agent, this intellect machine, should be in a place where it's where it creates new strategies for itself. Because if we're only limiting it to what strategy, it just doesn't make sense. So that's why this brain is there to create effective plans of action to pass on to the hands. Hands to execute. So that's what the brain's here to do. Now the final bit is the hands. The hands. And the hands' job is execute. Execute based off. The hands' job is to work with brain and eyes, and execute based. All right, let me just redo this one real quick. Just so I got it all sorted. So the hands job hands is the third part. Hands job is to, the hands job will be to work with the eyes, work with the eyes and the brain. With brain there we go. This is what the hands are for. So the hands job is to work with the eyes and the brain and execute based off then. And we'll take this off. Do this. So we have 3 pillars here. Let's get this lined out. And we're going to do the eyes. Do this, look. So this is going to be super clear. Okay. So these are going to be the 3 projects that we are going to focus on, and these together will communicate for creating our agent. Now, there might be sub-agents within these, like what I believe will have the most kind of sub-agents will be the brain. Because if we take this, let me do this, get the camera off, here we go. So, if we take this and we look now at what we have here, we have the eyes. The eye's job is to read, and I might remove that word read because it might not always be read. The eye's job is going to be to read incoming information and feed back to other parts. And we've got the brain. The brain's job is going to be to create effective plans of action to pass on to execute, and then the hands job, let's let that focus, work with the eyes and the brain to execute. Super simple. Now, with the brain, we're probably going to create and have sub-agents within the brain, things that are going to run. So I guess we can, look, I don't know where to start. Let's think. In terms of all of these, the best starting point, I don't know. Let me think for a moment. What would be the best starting point? I'm going to go on a walk right now, get some sun, and come back with a realization of the best starting point. I'm probably going to go shopping as well whilst I do this. I think Jeff Bezos calls this just pondering. I'm going to ponder. We've got these three. We know the layout. We know within the brain there's going to be a ton of subbrains and flows, and we can put those on post-it notes here as we map them out. But what is going to be the best starting point for right now? We'll find out next time. I'll keep you posted. Right, I actually didn't go for a walk, and I didn't go to the shop. But as soon as I basically hung up this camera, what happened was interesting. These ideas on exactly where to start forms. So put them here in the form of post-it notes. But essentially inside of the brain, at the beginning, here's what I want to do. I want to maximize use case for right now whilst also building out use case for future. So we've got this process here, which is the Proven Strategy Center. That's going to be the AI-ready strategies, okay? So these are strategies that are already proven to have worked through the internet, through human error, through human trial and error, right? With AI trial and error, we know that we're going to be able to add more strategies to this bank. For now, the two strategies we're going to go away and research to integrate into the Proven Strategy system is prop firm challenge protocols, an autonomous way to overcome and pass challenges, as well as the best through human trial and error, the best process to get autonomous payouts. So these are going to be the two processes that we're going to hard code into the Proven Strategy Bank, which will then filter through to this central command. And the central command basically just takes plans and tells the hands what to do, right? But the brain figures out what plans to at any given time based on the eyes and the data. Now, one important factor is every single action as well as thought process is going into the data collection and learning center so that in the short to long term, we can have this iterative strategy and adaptation center, which creates new proven strategies to be put into here. So based on whatever the eyes are seeing and the data, we'll have a reasoning center somewhere over here, and it will pick the best proven strategy to utilize, and then go through the central command to execute. For now, all we need to focus on is the prop firm challenge protocol and the prop firm autonomous payout protocol. That way we'll start to build the eyes as well as the fundamental frameworks for the hands to go ahead and execute. So if we just focus on these two based off human trial and error, we can get proof of concept with the bot, get a little bit of income, possibly even flow for being able to create income to hire developers to help me out with this, and also to fund Claude Code credits, which is going to be a whole thing when we're actually building this out. And as long as we make sure to be mindful of collecting data along the way, then this whole process is going to be able to work out long term, because ultimately the thesis that I'm operating on is, yes, we've got trading strategies that's been utilized and created and discovered through human trial and error, but in a sandbox environment, which we can put over here somewhere, in a sandbox environment inside of simulated trading and these types of things, theoretically, an AI should be able to do trial and error over time and continually be testing new strategies and looking at new patterns to basically load into this proven strategy bank and then execute through central command into the live markets. So that's how it's all going to work out. Clear primary focus for now is just understanding prop firm challenges and then prop firm payout processes, and building an agent that does that primarily whilst also collecting data. So for the long term, we can have an iterative strategy, which is going to be far greater than human trial and error. So that is that for now. I'm clear on my next steps, challenges and payouts. Let's get it done.